Hey guys, this is Will Terry, and I'm outside right now, and I want to talk to you today about getting what you want out of your artistic journey, out of your artistic life. And as I'm doing it, I'm going to be hiking up. So I live out here in Utah, and this is what I try to do for exercise as many times as I can during the season. It's a beautiful day, and anyway, I hope that my thoughts will help you in some way get more out of what you want in your artistic life. And by the way, we are at 170% of our snowpack this year, and I am loving it. So I'm going to hike up. We're going to snowboard down. We got the dog. Come here, Pooch. Come here. Say hi. Say hi. My goodness, say hi. Okay, yeah, over and out. Okay, so I'm trudging up. This is what the trail looks like right here. And I know this isn't what the video is about, but doggone it, I love to share some of the stuff that I'm doing in my life. And in fact, I've had a lot of comments where people have said, yeah, put that stuff in there. So this is part of I would say I get to come out here maybe, 3 to 5 times a week and work this in. This is my gym membership. So anyway, you probably don't want to hear me huffing and puffing as I'm going up the trail, so I'll probably wait till I get to a flatter part of the trail. So anyway, oh man, look at the view. Woo. I love coming up here. Okay, so as you can tell, I'm not up in the mountains anymore. I am down in my studio simply because I forgot to bring the second battery. So I'm finishing, I'm going to do the guts of the video here, and then we're going to go back up in the mountain at the end, if you want to see the end of the video. So to get to the meat of this on, getting what you want, designing and having the kind of artistic life that you really want to have. I'll just kind of tell you, about 7 years ago, I was listening to a guy on the radio, and I can't remember who it was, but he was saying that rather than writing goals, and not that goal writing isn't a good exercise to do, but rather than writing the actual goal, he was making a case that you should write the things that you want out of life, because then you will basically design your life to get there, whether it's subconscious or whether or not. But he says if you write down a list of the things that you want out of life, and they could be crazy things. I mean, they could be things that you have no idea how you're going to get there. Maybe one thing is you want to have $1 million. You should write that down, because what that will do is when you actually solidify that and write down those things that you want, subconsciously throughout your day, the choices that you make will tend to lead you towards those things. And he was saying, and he had some guests on the show, and other people were saying that they had gone through that, and that years later their life looked a lot like the life they had written down on their list. And it was like magical that they were getting there slowly, and they didn't really think. It's not like one day all of a sudden bing 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 their list was satisfied. It was happening gradually. And that's something that I've noticed too for me. And I'll share a couple of the things. I wrote down a list 7 years ago, but I'll just share two of the things on my list. One was to be able to work less and make more money. And that the reason for that is I think that's a dream that all of us have, is to be able to spend less time doing the work that we don't want to do, so we can have more time doing the things that we want to do, obviously, right? And I love my work. I love doing freelance. I love working on SVS. I love going to conventions and things like that. But I do more of that than I would like to right now. And so that's still a goal that is actually I've been attaining, even though I work a lot right now. I do have a dream of working fewer hours on illustration. Right now, I'm working on a freelance assignment for Houghton Mifflin, which is a little children's book, and it's fun and it's challenging. And I took it because it's a good project, but at the same time, I would probably, in my perfect world, I'd probably be writing my own stories and trying to illustrate those, or trying to get them published. And so the cool thing is I still have a lot to look forward to in that realm. The second thing that I wrote down was be able to exercise 2 to 3 hours each day. And so that's why, I'm showing you that I'm up in the mountains. And that was when I wrote that about 7 years ago, I was working as hard as I could to get freelance work, and teaching, at the university, and I just didn't have time. I was working on some other projects too, and I just didn't have time. So I would run out and go for a walk, or go play racquetball for an hour or so, and then come back home and jump right back into work. And I would always feel not guilty, but I would always feel stressed about how much time I was spending. And, I know that exercise is really important. It's important for everybody. But at the same time, it was like, do I have time to get an exercise in today? Even though I'm overweight, I've always been into exercise, and know that is key. And by the way, for you guys that aren't exercising, that it does so much for you, for your positive mental attitude too. And it's hard to get started. There was a time where, I wasn't exercising much. When we moved to California, I kind of had stopped. I was riding my bike a little bit, but it was really hard to get that habit started again. And now I exercise every day, except Sunday. And it's something that I don't have to force myself to do. I look forward to it. But one thing that I really wanted was to be able to spend more time, because to go up in the mountains, it takes more time. And when I would go up there, I'd feel guilty sometimes that I was spending too much time. So that was one of the things that I had written down for my personal enjoyment out of life. Because life isn't just, there are people out there that have millions of dollars that are miserable. And so, priorities, I think it's important to know what you want. When you design your life, what does it look like? And how does it, what are the different details that you're going to see? I mean, like one of mine that I didn't write down at that time, because I already had, was to have a family. And, I've got 3 boys and a wife, and we're happy, and I spend a lot of time with them too. Most of them, 2 of them are out of the house or grown now. But anyway, those were 2 things that I wrote down. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is being your own ally. And in getting what you want out of life, I think you have to be converted to, and this is something that I don't know. I know that I'm talking to a large audience or a varied audience, in age. Like I get letters from high school students all the way up to, people that are in their 60s, 70s that are saying, is it too late for me to start a career in art? So I know that I'm talking to a large group, but I'm mostly right now talking to you younger kids that are in high school and college and stuff, that and I don't know how I would receive it if I were there, but the thing I was thinking about, and I was thinking about this as I was walking the other day, because that's where I do that's another reason why I like going up in the mountains, is I like my alone time. I like to be able to think. I work on businesses up there. I work on illustrations up there in my head. I work on problems that I need to solve. I work on family stuff. And meditation is a huge part of my life, and I think that's, without it, I don't know how successful I'd be. So, but I was thinking about this, and I was thinking that I was thinking of the different times in my life where I was sure of something, and then 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years later, I was completely different on that topic. My opinion had completely changed 180 degrees. and I could give you examples. Like one would be my opinion on stock illustration. And I know this will probably frustrate some people, and but I feel the way I do. And back in the day, I was really, and I've talked about this before on the channel, but basically, as far as selling stock illustration through stock houses, I was totally, I was doing it, and then I learned how damaging it was to the industry, and then I was basically trying to tell other people and preach to other people, not to put your images in the stock house. And hindsight is 2020, but today I've realized that you can't necessarily just change a market by not participating in it, or by telling other people not to participate in it. Consumers want what they want. Markets are what they are. And I would have been much smarter to have gone full bore and put a lot of images into the stock houses at that time, and I would have made a lot more money. Now you could argue whether that was good or bad, and I'm not saying that either side was right or wrong. I'm saying for me personally, I would have made a lot of money if I had done that. And so the older me would probably have told the younger me would have given different advice. And there's a lot of examples of that in my life. There's where my opinion has switched 180 degrees. And so I think knowing that, my message to you is you're going to be a different person in 10 or 20 years than you are now. And if you could see the potential that you have, so let's say, let's say that you, or let's take someone, let's go out of the art world for example, and let's say we take someone who is trying to decide whether to be a doctor or an accountant, right? So we can probably agree that if they choose to be a doctor, their life is going to be different than if they choose to be an accountant. And their life will be probably different in a lot of ways. And so you basically right now are making choices, right? And this is the idea that I want to convey, is that right, every day you wake up, you're making different choices, and those choices are going to have an outcome, and that outcome is going to put you at a different place, where you could end up higher or lower as far as the things that you want out of life, right? And basically just decisions that you're making. You might wake up and go, I know that I need to work on my illustration for school, or I need to, I want to do studies, hand gesture drawing studies or things to increase my skills. But instead you decide to play a video game all day, right? Now I know video games are sacred and we're not supposed to talk negatively about them, but you know that you're playing too many video games. Come on. Many of you. And that is going to, the older you, the future you is mad right now. Seeing you do that, like the future you is going to have regret and is going to wish that the younger you was doing things to build more skills to get the things that you want out of life, right? And that's basically my message, is just know that the things that you do today are going to have a huge impact on you tomorrow, and then those things are going to have a huge impact on you in the future even further. And as I look back on my life, and I look back at the decisions I made a lot of dumb decisions, but I made some smart ones too. And I can definitely see why I'm where I am now based on those decisions. Could I be higher? Absolutely. Could I have an even, is there a possibility that I'm not doing everything right now? Absolutely. But I do feel like I am a lot of the things, like some people have suggested, and I've had comments and emails from people that have said things like, well, you can do this because, basically you're lucky that you got started when you did, and all that. And there's some truth to that. I would say it was a little bit easier to start illustration when there was an editorial market, but there are plenty of people who are younger than me right now who are having the same success, if not a lot more. And they've started 10 years after I did, 15 years after I did, 20 years after. And so I think that that's kind of stinking thinking. I mean, like, that's not going to really get you what you want. You definitely have things that you want. And I think for me, the video games, I feel like I'm being your dad right now. But those video games, the problem with it is, like, you can do it and keep them in check. That's good. I couldn't. I mean, like, I when I got into StarCraft, it was like, that was it. I had to, I lost a lot of my life on that. That was a very poor decision. And in fact, when I was playing StarCraft, that was when I was earning the least amount of money in my illustration career. So there's a direct correlation there. Now, some of you guys are feeling good because I'm talking about games, but you're on Facebook all day, or you're watching cable or Netflix all day. The future you wants you to do some amazing things now so that you'll have it easier later, and so that you'll be able to help more people later. I mean, it's just simple. Those that have accomplished more and achieved more are in a better position to help others through teaching and different various things like that, mentoring. So anyway, that is my message. Now let's go back up on the mountain where I'm going to ride this snowboard back down. We're going back down. Look, there's Sundance. So this is Robert Redford's ski resort, in case you were wondering, viewed through a dirty window. And yep, if I could do that every day for the rest of my life, I would be happy. The longer I can do that. It's just too bad that I won't be able to have darling Poochie with me to do it the whole time. Are you gonna lick me? You wanna lick me? Go ahead. You wanna give me kisses? It's so sad that we can't have our animals with us throughout our whole life. Poochie's 11 and she's already showing signs. Like, she used to be able to keep up with me coming down out of there, and now I have to wait for her. She's long gone, but she knows where I'm going, and she'll eventually get there. And then, tonight she'll come home and she'll lay down, and then tonight she'll be walking pretty stiff, and then tomorrow she'll be raring to go again, and she'd be she'd be so offended if I didn't bring her along. You know, I start to wonder, like, at what point am I not going to be allowed to, you know, be able to take her to where it's just hurting her too bad. And but to see her when I start getting ready to go, you can tell that she's not going to stand for being left behind. That's for sure. Look at this canyon. Oh, it's so beautiful up here. So I think right after Robert Redford did the Sundance Kid, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, that movie, he came up here and took some of his money and bought this place. I've taken my boys up here skiing and snowboarding a bunch of times. I don't do lift service much anymore. I'd rather get the exercise of hiking up and then riding back down. So anyway, I plan to do this as long as I possibly can. I'm hoping to be 80 years old and out here doing it. So, yep. What else? You're still here. I keep making these videos at the end of my videos where I don't know what I should say. I just keep filming. I figure, you know what? Maybe one or two of you wants to just kind of hang out through this, see what it's like out here. Maybe you're thinking about relocating out here. You know, we've got a really low cost of living. It's not like Colorado. You know, it's a lot cheaper than that. Average home prices out here are probably $2 to $250, somewhere in there. Starter home, probably maybe a twin home, right around the 200s, and then $250 is probably up into that range for a starter, and then on up from there. But I can't believe it's that expensive. I mean, like, but I mean that's kind of the way it is right now. But anyway, so hey, and if you come out here and relocate out here, you can come to our draw lunches with us. I skipped out on draw lunch today because there's not going to be too many more days where the snow is good. It was a little slow today, but faster than it can be. Like if it gets a little warmer and it gets slushy, then it gets to where you can't even do it. Once I have to use the ski poles to push over the flatter sections, it's not really worth it anymore. So, but today I was maintaining probably speeds in the 25 mile an hour range, which isn't bad. When it gets a little harder and icier, I can get going about 35 to 40, which can get a little bit scary on some of the turns. And I don't go off the road because I go alone. And if I did get hurt, I'd want to be on the road because there's a lot of traffic on that road. A lot of people that actually ride their mountain bikes on that snow. Believe it or not, we didn't see any today, but they do. And the cross-country skiers and snowshoers and snowmobilers and so. But I just kind of stay on the road. I do want to get a split board and be able to go off the road, but I need to find people to go with me that are at my level, because all the people I know are either in too good a shape or don't know how to board good enough to do it. So at any rate, okay, we're back in Provo Canyon. I think that's where I'm going to end it. I got about 10 miles to get home, and I'll see you on the next video.